Again, this is Second Esdras chapter 9. And he answered me and said, Measure diligently within yourself, and when you see that a certain part of the signs are past, which have been told to you beforehand, then you will understand that it is the very time wherein the Most High shall visit the world, which was made by him. And when there will be seen in the world earthquakes, disquietude of peoples, plans of nations, wavering of leaders, disquietude of princes, then you will understand that the Most High spoke of these things from the days that were previously from the beginning. For just as of all that is made in the world, the beginning is evident and end manifest. So also are the times of the Most High. The beginnings are manifest in wonders and mighty works, and the end in effects and signs. And everyone that will be saved and will be able to escape by his works or by faith whereby he has believed will be preserved from the stated perils and will see my salvation in my land and within my borders, which I have sanctified for myself from the beginning. Then those which have now abused my ways will be amazed, and those who have despitefully cast them away will dwell in torments. For as many as in their life have received benefits and yet have not known me, and as many as have scorned my law while they still had liberty, and when conversion was opened to them, did not understand but despised it, must know it after death by torment, and therefore no longer be curious how the ungodly will be punished, but inquire how the righteous will be saved, by whose the world is and for whom the world was created. And I answered and said, I have said before and now speak and will speak it also hereafter, that there are more of them which perish than of those which will be saved, just as a wave is greater than a drop. And he answered me, saying, Just as the field is, so also the seed, and as the flowers are, such are the colors also. And such as the work is, such is the judgment on it also. And as is the farmer, so is the threshing floor also. For there was a time in the world, even then, when I was preparing for those who now live, before the world was made for them to dwell in, and then no man spoke against me. There was not any. But now they which are created in this world that is prepared, both with a table that does not fail and a law which is unsearchable, are corrupted in their manners. So I considered my world, and behold, it was destroyed, and my earth, and behold, it was in peril, because of the plans that had come into it. And I saw and spared them, but not greatly, and saved myself a grape out of a cluster, and a plant out of a great forest. Let the multitude which was born in vain perish then, and let my grape be saved, and my plant, for I have made them perfect with great labor. Nevertheless, if you will cease yet 7 more days, however, you will not fast in them, but will go into a field of flowers, where no house is built, and eat only of the flowers of the field, and you will taste no flesh, and will drink no wine, but will eat flowers only.
Just read the next verse too, Mincy, I think.
Okay. And pray to the Most High continually. Then I will come and talk with you. So I went my way, just as he commanded me, into the field which is called Ardat. And there I sat among the flowers and ate the herbs of the field, and its meat satisfied me.
You read two verses.
And we're just trying to find a good separating place. Riley said I went too far. I
I
said, I
know.
know, I was just getting to the next section.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all goes together. Sorry
Yeah.
I'm late, guys. Um, oh, let me see. Well, the first thing, reading, going back to the beginning of chapter 9 in, I believe it's verse 1. Measure carefully in your mind, and when you see that some of the predicted signs have occurred, then you will know that it is the very time when the Most High is about to visit the world that He has made. And I think we're already beginning to see that right now. Um, And we are about to see even more. And I believe that the predicted signs that Yah is talking about is what we see in the book of Revelation, what we see in the book of Daniel, what we see in the book of all the prophets, basically. And these are the things that Yah had the prophets prophesy for us toward the end.
Yeah, okay, so chapter 9, verse 1 was reminding me of, I think it was last week that we just started in Enoch, right? The
Mhm.
words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and righteous, who will be living in the days of tribulation, when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. It was Enoch 1:1.
Yeah. What it reminded me of was Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 10, the signs that uh, that were found in the Maseroth, um, and the days that followed, and how they hit exactly where they were supposed to. So when the sun and the moon had hit into the constellations Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius, we knew that the time frame was right. The signs were starting to show themselves. And then when within those signs we started seeing that the heifer had been burned on the day that Ezekiel was sitting at the river Kibar, that was pretty surprising, if you will.
And, we also studied through Daniel chapter 12. So going back to the priestly order and the timeline and the calendar, it's pretty clear Daniel was counting down to the date or the day of the first resurrection. And the last verse in Daniel 12 makes it clear that those days, the 1335, the 1290, the 1260, end on the day that Daniel himself rises to his reward, right? Which is the first resurrection. So if you go backwards, we're already past 1335. We believe 1290 is March 4th, right? And then we believe that 1260 is the first day of unleavened bread and is April 4th. So
Yep.
all these things Yah has given us, you put them together and, you know, that's why we believe. And then earthquakes are starting up, strange signs, disquieted nations. I guess you guys have heard all this going on in Mexico, chaos. All the warships are over near, the Middle East. And so here we are.
Yep. It's coming together. It is coming together. And when Father said that he was gonna he was no longer gonna delay the time, it's now. It's no longer delayed. And he repeated that twice in Ezekiel and one time in Revelation. I think, where is that?
And I just want to add too, for those that are paying attention to what's going on out there, and I've known this scripture for quite some time, Daniel 11, verse 20, it talks about there shall arise in his place one who imposes taxes. Um, Now, how this is read, there's other translations that how can I say, write it better. I used to think on the glorious kingdom was Israel, but if you go back to the Hebrew, it's not there. It's basically saying there shall arise in his place one who imposes taxes to to gain his kingdom, not Israel or Yah's kingdom. But within a few days he shall be destroyed, but not in anger or battle. And I'm not saying for sure, of course, but just, Yah says to watch, to be diligent to watch. And there's only one person, in my opinion, that fits that bill on a worldwide scale, right? And
Yep.
Trump just announced a global, I use that in quotes. I'm just
Hmm.
quoting. Yes, I'm not a global citizen, pal. But anyway, it's going to raise global tariffs 10%. And I think it actually turned out he raised them 15%. So we're tracking. I mean, we even have,
I,
just throwing that out there.
What can you refer? What's the address in Daniel that refers to the tax again?
11:20, Daniel 11, chapter 11, verse 20. And I would encourage you guys to look at other translations because the one I read, the New King James, isn't a great. Let me just see real fast what the Septuagint says. But y'all go ahead.
I just want to say Ezekiel 12 definitely says it, and starting in verse 22 through 28. Son of man, what is this proverb that you people have about the land of Israel, which says, the days go by and every vision shall come to naught? Right? This is him asking, why do you have so many people crying wolf? Therefore say to them, thus said Master Yahuwah, I shall make this proverb to cease, so that they no longer use it as a proverb in Israel. But say to them, the days are drawn near, as well as the matter of every vision. For no longer is there to be any false vision or flattering divination within the house of Israel. Verse 25. For I am Yahuwah, I speak, and the word which I speak is done. It is no longer deferred. For in your days, O rebellious house, when I speak the word, I shall do it, declares the Master Yahuwah. Again, the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, see the house of Israel is saying, the vision that he is seeing is for many days from now, and he is prophesying of times far off. Therefore say to them, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, none of my words are deferred any longer. When I speak a word, it is done, declares Master Yahuwah.
That was which chapter in Ezekiel?
That's chapter 12.
12, 22 to 28.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
I just thought it was interesting that it starts in 22, which is Gamul, which begins in year 2026, and that the word that Yah began speaking it was in year 2025, and we are still in the year 2025.
Yeah, and 1290 hits in 2025 of
Mhm.
y'all's calendar, which is the calendar.
Yep. Yep. And he says it again in Revelation, but I can't find it right off the top of my head.
Oh, John and Tracy shared that mayor of New York proposed a potential 9.5% tax increase. Wait, so on property taxes. Hmm.
He proposed this in February. This, I think it was last week, was it? Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, it's here in Revelation 10, verse 6. And swore by him who lives forever and ever, who created the heaven and what is in it, the earth and what is in it, and the sea and what is in it, that there shall be no further delay.
I'm sorry, Christina, I missed it. What was the address in
It
Revelation?
was Revelation 10:6.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I want to check one more scripture because I'm thinking Nehemiah may have said something to that effect as well.
Do, does everybody see though that the first half of Ezekiel, I mean, I'm sorry, second Esdras 9 is basically speaking of that he will destroy the unrighteous, so none of them enter the millennial reign. That's what he's speaking of there, not the final kingdom.
And then when we get down to Second Esdras 9:7, I believe he's talking about the the survivors and Israel, the 144,000 physical Israel from Revelation chapter 7, verses 1 through 4. And it shall be that all who will be saved and will be able to escape on account of their works or on account of the faith by which they believe will survive the dangers that have been predicted and will see my salvation in my land and within my borders, which I have sanctified for myself from the beginning.
Wait, where are you reading from?
Second Esdras chapter 9, verse 7.
7. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And
Sorry,
that's
I'm having a hard time keeping up this morning
7:9.
with the addresses. Like slow. Um, yeah, thought it was interesting how in verse 13 he says, "Therefore, no longer be curious how the ungodly will be punished, but inquire how the righteous will be saved." He's telling Ezra's what questions he wants to be asked, which I think is really interesting.
What verse was that, Linda, that you were quoting?
That was 13.
Yep.
In verse 8, talking about we'll see my salvation, which is obviously Yahusha.
Which he has sanctified from the beginning, his land.
Right. Yep. And he makes it, that of a wave, just a drop is saved.
Hmm.
Of grapes, just one grape out of a cluster, and one
Hmm.
plant out of a forest. So he's telling you right there, just a small percentage is
Hmm.
is gonna make it.
Yeah,
Right.
like so Ezra is the one that's like, all right, I'm gonna let him know that it's a drop out of a wave, and Yah's like, it's a seed compared to the field. Like he's like re going like even more in depth and giving him more and more examples. Like so few, Ezra. It's like
Right.
so few.
Yeah.
And I thought it was um, really beautiful that he had him eat from a field of, eat out of a field of flowers that have never been touched by anyone's hands, meaning no building had ever been upon it. And those flowers, I wish I knew what kind of flowers they were, but I believe they were there to heal Ezra physically. It kind of gives me a vision of us, trying to eat clean and fasting, right? Because we know that our food is poisoned. I'm wondering if in Ezra's time, if they weren't also going through a type of poisoning. And to heal him, he fasted him first, and then he's having healing herbs. Much is the same thing as when the Exodus, just before the Exodus happened, they had lamb and then they had the bitter herbs, which are healing to the body, right? And also meant to heal the mind. So we're seeing a repeat of that here, and we will see it again when they go out. Um, we know that manna will fall again, and when that does, it's used for discipline.
Should we continue reading, or does anybody else have anything they want to add for the first 25 verses? Do you want to read, Christine, or I can read? Or if anybody else wants to read, you can raise your hand or just start reading.
Yeah, I don't mind reading. Where did we leave off?
Start, I think,
Emily?
with 26.
Okay. So I went as he directed me into the field that is called Ardat. There I sat among the flowers and ate of the plants of the field, and the nourishment they afforded satisfied me. After 7 days, while I lay on the grass, my heart was troubled again, as it was before. Then my mouth was opened, and I began to speak before the Most High, and said, O Yahuwah, you showed yourself among us to our ancestors in the wilderness when they came out from Egypt, and when they came into the untrodden and unfruitful wilderness. And you said, Hear me, O Israel, and give heed to my words, O descendants of Yaakov. For I sow my law in you, and it shall bring forth fruit in you, and you shall be glorified through it forever. But though our ancestors received the law, they did not keep it and did not observe the statutes. Yet the fruit of the law did not perish, for it could not because it was yours. Yet those who received it perished because they did not keep what had been sown in them. Now, this is the general rule that when the ground has received seed, or the sea a ship, or any dish, food, or drink, and when it comes about that what was sown, or what was launched, or what was put in is destroyed, they are destroyed. But the things that held them remain, yet with us it has not been so. For we have received the law, and sinned will perish. Sorry, I need to read that again. I'm in 36. For we who have received the law and sinned will perish, as well as our hearts that received it. The law, however, does not perish, but survives its glory. Um,
Do you want to stop there and just talk about this, or do you want to go to the end?
I think I'll go ahead and go to the end, even though the topic changes. So it'll be fine. When I said these things in my heart, I looked around, and on my right I saw a woman. She was mourning and weeping with a loud voice, and was deeply grieved at heart. Her clothes were torn, and there were ashes on her head. Then I dismissed the thoughts with which I had been engaged, and turned to her and said to her, Why are you weeping, and why are you grieved at heart? She said to me, Let me alone, my master, so that I may weep for myself and continue to mourn, for I am greatly embittered in spirit and deeply distressed. I said to her, What has happened to you? Tell me. And she said to me, Your servant was barren and had no child, though I lived with my husband for 30 years. Every hour and every day during those 30 years, I prayed to the Most High night and day. And after 30 years, Yahuwah heard your servant and looked upon my low estate and considered my distress and gave me a son. I rejoiced greatly over him, I and my husband and all my neighbors, and we gave great glory to the Mighty One, and I brought him up with much care. So when he grew up and I came to take a wife for him, I set a day for the marriage feast. And I guess this here is like the parable of Jerusalem. And when I was reading it, I paid attention to the numbers beginning in 43. Um and I was considering what age she would have been when she was married to her husband. And so I took the age of 20. She was 20 years old. And then she waited 30 years imploring Father for a child, to give her a child. So that would make her 50 years. And so she brought him up carefully. And I considered again, at the youngest, 20 years of age. Well, I got the number 70 when I added up those numbers. Well, what happened in 70 AD? The temple the second temple was completely destroyed. And I do believe that in Second Esdras, this is the first temple. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong here. Um, but this is also showing the devastation that had taken place, and this is what they are sorrowing over, is the loss of that temple due to their sin. And the 70 years I saw as a culmination of sin again after the second temple had been built, and the sin going again until Father went and destroyed it. And that was through Yahusha's prophecy um, of the temple being destroyed. Although I couldn't tell you where that is right at the top of my head.
You're
Isn't
talking
that
about,
the
right.
Olivet prophecies?
Well, so the temple that was destroyed probably was before Ezra was born. That wasn't 70 AD, but that was Nebuchadnezzar, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
You're
yeah,
you're talking about he made prophesying of the temple to come,
Hello.
which he was a part of building. Sorry, Audrey, go ahead. Anyway, yeah, I see what you're saying. That 70 AD, you know.
yeah. It just occurred to me to look at it, and
Good morning.
Um, but anyway, but for second Esdras here, that's still in the future to come. That's way past his day.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we're ready for chapter 10, or did anybody else have a comment they wanted to say before we go forward? I don't want to cut anybody off.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just answering that I thought the Yahushua giving the prophecy about the destruction of the temple in 70 AD is in the Olivet prophecies in the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. The accounts are Luke 21, Matthew 24, Mark 13 in those chapters.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You said Luke 21, Matthew 24, and Mark 13?
Yes.
Thanks, Anne.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I got that mixed up. Could you give that one more time, Anne, please?
Yeah, no problem. It's Matthew 24. I'll do them in order. Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21 has Yahushua's full uh, prophecy about what was the coming destruction on the temple and the people and the land, that everything would be destroyed and not one stone left upon another.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll go to chapter 10 if y'all are ready for it.
Ready.
All right.
Ready.
But it happened that when my son entered his wedding chamber, he fell down and died. So all of us put out our lamps, and all my neighbors attempted to console me. I remained quiet until the evening of the second day. But when all of them had stopped consoling me, encouraging me to be quiet, I got up in the field. I got up in the night and fled, and I came to this field, as you see. And now I intend not to return to the town, but to stay here. I will neither eat nor drink, but will mourn and fast continually until I die. Then I broke off the reflections with which I was still engaged, and answered her in anger, and said, You most foolish of women, do you not see our mourning and what has happened to us? For Zion, the mother of us all, is in deep grief and great distress. It is most appropriate to mourn now because we are all mourning, and to be sorrowful because we are all sorrowing. You are sorrowing for one son, but we, the whole world, for our mother. Now ask the earth, and she will tell you that it is she who ought to mourn over so many who have come into being upon her. From the beginning, all have been born of her, and others will come, and lo, almost all go to perdition, and a multitude of them will come to doom. Who then ought to mourn the more, she who lost so great a multitude, or you who are grieving for one alone? But if you say to me, my lamentation is not like the earth's, for I have lost the fruit of my womb, which I brought forth in pain and bore in sorrow, but it is with the earth according to the way of the earth. The multitude that is now in it goes as it came. Then I say to you, just as you brought forth in sorrow, so the earth also has from the beginning given her fruit, that is mankind, to him who made her. Now therefore keep your sorrow to yourself, and bear bravely the troubles that have come upon you. For if you acknowledge the decree of Yahuwah to be just, you will receive your son back in due time, and will be praised among women. Therefore go into town to your husband. She said to me, I will not do so. I will not go into the city, but I will die here. So I spoke again to her and said, do not do that, but let yourself be persuaded. For how many are the adversities of Zion? And be consoled because of the sorrow of Jerusalem. For you see how our sanctuary has been laid waste, our altar been thrown down, our temple destroyed. Our harp has been laid low, our song has been silenced, and our rejoicing has been ended. And the light of our lampstand has been put out. The ark of our covenant has been plundered. Our holy things have been polluted. And the name by which we are called has been almost profaned. Our children have suffered abuse. Our priests have been burned to death. Our Levites have gone into exile. Our virgins have been defiled, and our wives have been ravished. Our righteous men have been carried off, our little ones have been cast out. Our young men have been enslaved, and our strong men made powerless. And worst of all, the seal of Zion has been deprived of its glory and given over into the hands of those that hate us. Therefore, shake off your great sadness and lay aside your many sorrows, so that the Mighty One may be merciful to you again, and the Most High may give you rest, a respite from your troubles. While I was talking to her, her face suddenly began to shine exceedingly. Her countenance flashed like lightning, so that I was too frightened to approach her, and my heart was terrified. While I was wondering what this meant, she suddenly uttered a loud and fearful cry, so that the earth shook at the sound. When I looked up, the woman was no longer visible to me, but a city was being built, and a place of huge foundations showed itself. I was afraid and cried with a loud voice and said, where is the angel Uriel who came to me at first? For it was he who brought me into this overpowering bewilderment. My end has become corruption and my prayer a reproach. While I was speaking these words, the angel had come to me at first came to me, and when he saw me lying there like a corpse, deprived of my understanding, he grasped my right hand and strengthened me and set me on my feet and said to me, what is the matter with you, and why are you troubled? And why are your understanding and the thoughts of your mind troubled? I said, it was because you abandoned me. I did as you directed and went out into the field, and lo, what I have seen and can still see, I am unable to explain. He said to me, stand up like a man, and I will instruct you. I said, speak, my master, only do not forsake me, so that I may not die before my time. For I have seen what I did not know, and I hear what I did not understand, or in my mind deceived, and my soul dreaming. Now therefore I beg you to give your servant an explanation of this bewildering vision. He answered me and said, listen to me, and I will teach you, and tell you about the things that you fear. For the Most High has revealed many secrets to you. He has seen your righteous conduct, and that you have sorrowed continually for your people and mourned greatly over Zion. This, therefore, is the meaning of the vision. The woman who appeared to you a little while ago, whom you saw mourning and whom you began to console, you do not now see the form of a woman, but there appeared to you a city being built, and who told you about the misfortune of her son. This is the interpretation. The woman who you saw is Zion, which you now behold as a city being built. And as for her telling you that she was barren for 30 years, the reason is that there were 3,000 years in the world before any offering was offered in it. And after 3,000 years, Solomon built the city and offered offerings. Then it was that the barren woman bore a son. And as for her telling you that she brought him up with much care, that was the period of residence in Jerusalem. And as for her saying to you, my son died as he entered his wedding chamber, and that misfortune had overtaken her, this was the destruction that befell Jerusalem. So you saw her likeness, how she mourned for her son, and you began to console her for what had happened. For now the Most High, seeing that you are sincerely grieved and profoundly distressed for her, has shown you the brilliance of her glory and the loveliness of her beauty. Therefore I told you to remain in the field where no house had been built, for I knew that the Most High would reveal these things to you. Therefore I told you to go into the field where there was no foundation of any building, because no work of human construction could endure in a place where the city of the Most High was to be revealed. Therefore do not be afraid, and do not let your heart be terrified, but go in and see the splendor or the vastness of the building, as far as it is possible for your eyes to see it. And afterward you will hear as much as your ears can hear, for you are more blessed than many, and you have been called to be with the Most High as few have been. But tomorrow night you shall remain here, and the Most High will show you in those dream visions what the Most High will do to those who inhabit the earth in the last days. So I slept that night and the following one as he had told me. Uh, so I'm looking at the 3,000 years, and it's really cool that, yeah, that this is the first temple that Solomon had built.
And that was the temple that was destroyed when they were
Yeah,
dragged to Babylon.
right.
And then in verse 22, he talks about the Ark of the Covenant being plundered. There was no Ark of the Covenant, and the new temple Ezra helped build, which became Herod's temple, right, in the days of Yahushua,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know what happened to it back in the days of Jeremiah. Now, you know, right, do you see what I'm saying? So that proves which temple he's talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And wasn't it 70 years before they could come back after?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly right. Yeah.
And then what it made me think about was one, the temple being built in the third heaven. And I believe this is the one that Ezra was allowed to see, and it was placed in the area where no other building had ever been built before. But what I
With the New
also,
Jerusalem,
the New
right? Is that what
Jerusalem,
you, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the New Jerusalem. Yeah.
And
Um,
but it also made me think about the 3,000 years later in the sixth day, because there will be another temple built, which is the one going into the millennial reign. So, and that one will also suffer destruction during the wrath, um, the final 7 years before the one from the north comes down after the great white throne judgment. I just saw in my mind, I saw the first temple, which is described in Ezekiel, and then I also saw the temple which is to come at the end of the great throne judgment. So I was seeing two things at once here because of the 3,000 years that was mentioned. So we have
Do
another
you
temple
think
coming in the sixth day.
my question is the second temple mentioned at all in any of this?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so either.
Yeah, but it made me think about the temple that will be coming about in the millennial reign.
Yeah.
I think there's some symbolism and play on words with her son, which
Mm-hmm.
if you connect to Revelation 12 being Messiah, remember basically this temple will be destroyed, but I will rebuild it in 3 days. Of course, he's speaking of himself.
Hmm.
So I do think there's a play on words there too.
Yep, I see that too.
Yeah.
Drop the zeros.
And the woman, of course, is Zion,
Hmm.
and the woman is his bride, right? Yahusha's bride, which is the called out ecclesia, the first fruits, and her home will be that new Jerusalem as well. So there's a lot going on in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see that. And I knew that this was without a shadow of a doubt Zion, because in verse 54 through 57, Ezra is told that he is the bride.
Yeah. That must be nice.
Yeah, it is. And I think it kind of um, makes me think how, people are really confused about the bride and would probably and do find it hard to accept that the fact that the bride has been chosen since the beginning, she has been picked out of every single era right up to the point. So it's not going to be 144,000 at one time. I totally agree, Mitzi, that it says it right here, and we've seen it with Baruch also. We've seen it with Daniel. Daniel was also told that he has his reward in heaven in 12:13. And it says here, but you go your way to the end and rest and arise to your lot at the end of the days. So he will be receiving his white robe. He will be there. He is the bride too.
Yeah. And he's resting in Sheol until then.
Right. And you know what? It brings me back to Daniel 11:32 through 35, because the bride that is left on the earth, she's also being refined through this time frame. She's going through a period of refinement before she dies. And I'll read it. 32 through 35. And by flatteries he shall profane those who do wrong. You know what? I do not like my version. I have to read through the LXX.
Oh, you're in Daniel now.
I'm in Daniel chapter
Okay.
11, and I'm
Okay.
going to read.
Sorry. I'm having a
No,
hard time keeping up
no
today.
worries. So I'm going to read 32 through 35. And the transgressors shall bring about a covenant by deceitful ways, but a people knowing their Elohim shall prevail and do valiantly. And the intelligent of the people shall understand much. Yet they shall fall by the sword, and by flame, and by captivity, and by spoil of many days. And when they are weak, they shall be helped with a little help, but many shall attach themselves to them with treachery. And some of them that understand shall fall, to try them as with fire, and to test them, and that they may be manifested at the time of the end, for the matter is yet for a set time. So this says to me that during the tribulation, the bride is going through her period of refinement. This is the testing of what she is going to do and if she is going to pass or fail, basically. Um, and I would sincerely hope that they all pass and not fail during the tribulation of of um of things to come, basically.
And while we're in Daniel 11, I think, we'd like to share too. We already talked about Daniel 11:20 and potentially what that could be. And the way I personally read verse 21, so when this one that imposes taxes to exalt his kingdom. So I kind of think that would be like the ruler of a leading nation, which Trump, of course, is. But within a few days he shall be destroyed, but not in anger or battle. So die, basically. Now, verse 21, let's move on here. This certainly seems to align with 1290 to me. And in his place shall arise a vile person, which, if you keep reading, this turns out to be the beast, to whom they will not give the honor of royalty, but he shall come in peaceably and seize the kingdom by intrigue. Now, I'm just throwing out ideas, not saying this is right, but when a president dies, let's just say hypothetically that happens, pretty much the next day there's a peaceable transfer of power to the vice president. So, do you see how that could potentially be 1290? He's not ruling the world yet, but he comes on the scene. And then if you keep reading, so if verse 21 is 1290, then verse 36 seems like it would be 1260. So everything in between, things are going to move really fast. Just throwing that out there. And I'll and then of course you see verse 31, which I used to think, and we just talked about this morning, so I just want to let everybody know. I used to believe there would literally be a temple and literally sacrifices be going on. And knows I used to believe that. Well, it's so this prophecy was dual, of course, but the reason why, okay, so I'll read it, verse 31, and forces shall be mustered by him, and they shall defile the sanctuary fortress. Then they shall take away daily sacrifices and place there the abomination of desolation. So, Christina, you might, you can explain what your thoughts are that, we've talked about before the the laws, the sun. Go ahead and you
Okay.
explain that part.
Okay, so what came to mind when I was reading this is that today the only thing that we can do, because we have no temple, we have no Levitical priests, we have none of that. But the one thing that we do have is the Sabbath, which we are able to keep still this very day because we know when his Sabbaths are and how they occur. So, what the enemy wants to do is he wants to take away our ability to have that rest on the proper day that is Yah's. So, uh, when we get into 32, and by flatteries he shall profane. Okay, doggone it. I got to quit reading the ISR on this. Um, and the transgressors shall bring about a covenant by deceitful ways. Well, they're doing that right now by saying, oh, let's all come together and we'll have our Sunday and our Sunday worship. Well, we've also got the Noahide laws that are going in as well, which are for the Jews. And so they don't want anybody to be worshiping outside of these days. And the people who know the truth of when that Sabbath is, they're the ones that are in covenant right now. The ones who are keeping the Sabbath on the correct days.
And his holy days.
And his holy days on the correct days. So, through all of this intrigue that they're doing and through all of their rituals, they they will institute the Sunday law where everybody has to worship on that day. And if you're a Jew, then you have to worship on Saturday. And that excludes all the other days. You're not allowed to do it on any other day but those 2 days. And I believe that that period of time over the next 3.5 years, that is the testing for the people. Either you're going to go with the beast and you're going to celebrate on the days that they tell you to, or you are going to listen to the two witnesses who are going to tell you what those days are that you're supposed to be worshiping on and keeping the feasts. So it's going to be one way or the other. You're either going
Yeah.
to choose the beast or you're going to go with the two witnesses.
And if you do that, you'll be an enemy against the state, and that will be the death penalty, right? Which is beheading.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I also wanted to read the scripture. So it talks about the sacrifices, of course, in verse 31. But let's look what Yah, even in the Old Testament, said he wanted. So if you go to 1 Samuel 15:22, so this is when Saul disobeyed Yah. And Samuel told him in verse 22, has Yah as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahweh? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of Yah, he also has rejected you from being king. So, right there, even in the Old Testament, Yah wants obedience above everything. And that's the only thing we can give him right now. There's no temple, there, like Christina said, there's no temple. There's no valid Levitical priesthood. And even had the squatters built a temple or started sacrificing, that would not be of Yah. It would not be his. So it's all defiled, right? And then also Psalm 40 verse 6 says, sacrifice and offering you did not desire. My ears you have opened. Burnt offering and sin offering you did not require. So he wants obedience, right? And then it says, behold, I come in the scroll of the book. It is written of me. I delight to do your will, O my Elohim, and your laws it is within my heart. So there, that is the circumcision of heart, of your heart. That is what Yah's looking for from his folks that are in his covenant right now. So does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Yeah. And I feel bad I was one of those. I really, that was back in the day. I thought that they were honestly who they said they were, though, right? That was when I didn't realize that Of course, we'll see, but I don't think there's not going to be a valid temple of Yah until the millennial temple is built. So,
And that
So,
would be another deception because it's what the people were looking for, an actual temple, an actual sacrificing going on before anything ever starts.
yeah. Go ahead, Linda.
yeah, I know I kind of want to go down where what Carolyn was talking about too, because I think all of us have expected a third temple to be born or to be built here on earth. But whether or not that happens before all this goes down, that could have been like, yeah, we don't know if that's going to happen or not. It will have to
Yeah.
happen very fast if our,
It's not looking good,
yeah,
but
they,
even so, if it is, it's not of Yah,
right,
right? It
right.
can't.
No
Yeah.
matter what, it's not of, yeah. So if it doesn't come though, this will all be fulfilled in some way, you know. But back to Daniel 11:21. The King James has the word flatteries. What did yours have, Christina? What was the word?
Seize the rule by flatteries.
Flatteries.
That's
Okay.
what I've
So
got.
that
Yeah.
Hebrew word is 2519, and it means flattery, slipperiness, fine promises, smoothness. Um, so it has it well in the new or in the King James, it's been translated into slippery or flatteries. Both times it's used in Daniel, it's flatteries, but it's used in Psalm 35 as slippery and in Jeremiah 23 as slippery. And I'm just going to read Psalm 35 to um, just to give the context of what we're talking about here. Okay, plead my cause, O Yahweh, with them that strive with me. Fight against them that fight against me. Take hold of shield and buckler, and stand up for my help. Draw out also the spear, and stop the way against them that persecute me. Say unto my soul, I am thy salvation. Let them be confounded, and put to shame that seek after my soul. Let them be turned back and brought to confusion that devise my hurt. Let them be as chaff before the wind, and let the angel of Yahweh chase them. Let their way be dark and slippery, and let the angel of Yahweh persecute them. So that's the word right there. That's slippery. Um, that's that same word that is in Daniel 11:21 for flatteries. And hold on, I'm going to read you the Jeremiah one too.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, it's taking me a minute. Okay. Trying to figure out where to start reading. Okay, I'm just going to start in Jeremiah 23:10. For the land is full of adulterers, for because of swearing the land mourns. The pleasant places of the wilderness are dried up, and their course is evil, and their force is not right. For both prophet and priest are profane. Yea, in my house have I found their wickedness, saith Yahweh. Therefore, their ways shall be unto them as slippery ways in the darkness. They shall be driven on and fall therein, for I will bring evil upon them, even the year of their visitation, saith Yahweh. Just wanted to share those.
My version, verse 21 says intrigues.
Intrigue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another word, like the root word of it, has persuasion involved with it. So it's kind of like how is Satan described in the garden?
He's
Cunning,
crafty.
Yeah.
cunning,
I feel like they're
crafty.
kind of all the same, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah. The
Yeah.
sons of perdition, in other words,
That's
the deceivers. Yeah.
Linda, do you mind repeating those two addresses?
yeah, no problem. It's Daniel 12:23 and the other one is Psalm 35, verse 6.
Daniel 12:23.
Sorry, Jeremiah 12:23. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was gonna say it's not there. Run out of verses in Daniel 12. I gotcha. Y'all ready to move on to chapter 11 and Esdras?
Wow, I can't believe that we're moving right along.
Woohoo!
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
I
We
don't
need
even,
to be getting with it.
I know. I
uh,
mean, I feel like did everybody, I mean, do we go over everything in 11? If we have, we can keep going.
yeah, I think so.
The only thing I just wanted to also just touch on is like how terrified must have Ezra been when he's like giving this lady a lecture and then all of a sudden she starts radiating light and then makes a great and fearful cry so that he's like, "Whoa, where's Uriel?" Like I can't imagine like he must have been so scared.
I guess she told him.
Yeah, I'm allowed
Yeah.
to cry if I want to.
I'm
And I,
sorry, Linda. That was Jeremiah what?
Oh, Jeremiah 12:23.
Jeremiah
Wait, right
12:23.
now what I'm talking about, I was talking about in Second Esdras when in verse 20 in chapter 10 verse 26, and behold, suddenly the woman that Ezra was speaking with in his vision, she made a great and fearful cry so that the earth shook at the noise, and I looked, and behold, the woman appeared to me no longer, but there she was, a city was built, and a place showed itself from a large foundation. And then I was afraid and cried with a loud voice and said, "Where is Uriel, the messenger who came to me at first? For he has caused me to fall into this great trance, and my end is turned into corruption, and my prayer a rebuke." So he's feeling kind of convicted or not so
Hey,
great about what he was obviously misinterpreting this vision, and now it's being all revealed to him what actually this is and supposed to mean.
Okay,
well,
because I was just curious because when I looked up Jeremiah 12:23, there is no it only goes to 12:17.
it is 23:12.
Thank you. Sorry, got me and numbers. I mean,
Okay. I was confused.
23:12. My bad.
when I was reading, when I was reading about her countenance flashing like lightning, what I saw was, those lava lamps that when you turn them on, you see the lightning just go all over the place. That is what I saw in my brain. That was how the lightning was going across her face, kind of like what you see in a lava lamp.
I think it's kind of pointing to the first resurrection, right? The
Yeah.
bride.
Yeah.
Her face
Yep.
will shine like the stars. But yeah,
And the earth shaking at the sound as well. So, um, it's the trumpet, right? Wouldn't that be the
yep,
trumpet on trumpets?
right. Anybody else before we move on?
Okay, chapter 11. And I think I'll read to 33. This is a really long chapter. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, I can just go
42.
ahead and read the whole thing. On the second night, I had a dream. I saw rising from the sea an eagle that had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. I saw it spread its wings over the whole earth, and all the winds of heaven blew upon it, and the clouds were gathered around it. I saw that out of its wings there grew opposing wings, but they became little, puny wings. But its heads were at rest. The middle head was larger than the other heads, but it too was at rest with them. Then I saw that the eagle flew with its wings, and it reigned over the earth and over those who inhabit it. And I saw how all things under heaven were subjected to it, and no one spoke against it, not a single creature that was on the earth. Then I saw the eagle rise upon its talons, and it uttered a cry to its wings, saying, Do not all watch at the same time. Let each sleep in its own place and watch in its turn. But let the heads be reserved for the last. I looked again and saw that the voice did not come from its heads, but from the middle of its body. I counted its rival wings, and there were 8 of them. As I watched, one wing on the right side rose up, and it reigned over all the earth. And after a time its reign came to an end, and it disappeared, so that even its place was no longer visible. Then the next wing rose up and reigned, and it continued to reign a long time. While it was reigning, its end came also, so that it disappeared like the first. And a voice sounded, saying to it, Listen to me, you who have ruled the earth all this time. I announce this to you before you disappear. After you, no one shall rule as long as you have ruled, not even half as long. Then the third wing raised itself up and held the rule as the earlier ones had done, and it also disappeared. And so it went with all the wings. They wielded power one after another, and then were never seen again. I kept looking, and in due time the wings that followed also rose up on the right side in order to rule. There were some of them that ruled, yet disappeared suddenly, and others of them rose up, but did not hold the rule. And after this I looked and saw that the 12 wings and the 2 little wings had disappeared, and nothing remained on the eagle's body except the 3 heads that were at rest and 6 little wings. As I kept looking, I saw that 2 little wings separated from the 6 and remained under the head that was on the right side, but 4 remained in their place. Then I saw that these little wings planned to set themselves up and hold the rule. As I kept looking, one sat up but suddenly disappeared. A second also, and this disappeared more quickly than the first. While I continued to look, the 2 that remained were planning between themselves to reign together. And while they were planning, one of the heads that were at rest, the one that was in the middle, suddenly awoke. It was greater than the other 2 heads. And I saw how it allied the 2 heads with itself, and how the head turned with those that were with it and devoured the 2 little wings that were planning to reign. Moreover, this head gained control of the whole earth, and with much oppression dominated its inhabitants. It had greater power over the world than all the wings that had gone before. After this I looked again and saw the head in the middle suddenly disappear, just as the wings had done. But the 2 heads remained, which also in the like manner ruled over the earth and its inhabitants. And while I looked, I saw the head on the right side devour the one on the left. Then I heard a voice saying to me, Look in front of you and consider what you see. Then I looked. I saw that it seemed to be a lion roused from the forest, roaring. And I heard how it uttered a human voice to the eagle and spoke, saying, Listen, and I will speak to you. The Most High says to you, Are you not the one that remains of the 4 beasts that I had made to reign in my world, so that the end of my times might come through them? You, the 4th that has come, have conquered all the beasts that have gone before, and you have held sway over the world with great terror, and over all the earth with grievous oppression. And for so long you have lived on the earth with deceit. You have judged the earth, but not with truth, for you have oppressed the meek and injured the peaceable. You have hated those who will tell the truth, and have loved liars. You have destroyed the homes of those who brought forth fruit, and have laid low the walls of those who did you no harm. Your insolence has come up before the Most High, and your pride to the Mighty One. The Most High has looked at his times. Now they have ended, and his ages have reached completion. Therefore you, eagle, will surely disappear, you and your terrifying wings, your most evil little wings, your malicious heads, your most evil talons, and your whole worthless body, so that the whole earth, freed from your violence, may be refreshed and relieved, and may hope for the judgment and mercy of him who made it.
Well, we know that line, Yahusha, right?
Oh, yes.
And I do think it's interesting that it is an eagle. So an eagle, which is an unclean bird, has ruled throughout the ages, right?
Yes.
And eagles point to angels a lot of time in Yah's word, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, evil men have ruled, but what and all, I think about Daniel, so his statue, they were Gentile rulers. And above all the Gentile nations are angels, right? That were set over all the Gentile nations. So that's what I think of when I think of these eagles. I will say the God culture, he has several videos which I kind of think explain this the best, but curious to hear y'all's thoughts. I think he thinks the biggest head might have been the British Empire. I'm not sure. Um,
I'm
but
not
I'm
sure
kind of
either.
thinking the US and Israel are probably the other two heads.
Hmm.
Well, we do, after all, hold the eagle as part of the banner, right?
Oh yeah. So did
So,
Rome, so a
yep,
lot of Japheth has used the eagle, right?
yes, yep. I also see it too as the spiritual rulers over the time inhabiting man. Um,
And, and that part where he talks about the voice doesn't come from the head, but its body. To me, that's Satan. He's
mhm.
behind the whole thing, right?
Yep,
Seems like he's the one, manipulating those angels that are over the nations. Well, I think he's technically over those angels that are over the nations. But of course, at all times subject to Yah. They're not allowed to do anything that he doesn't allow. Their party's about over,
Hmm.
you know.
yeah, I would say so. I would say so. And America is about to go down. That banner is going to go down. But you know what? I kind of wonder, the leader himself, probably because he's got more work to do, will be working with the beast. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there because the eagle is still at work here.
Any other ideas from anyone?
Well, the cool thing is in chapter 12, he gives us the interpretation of the vision.
Well,
So I
yeah.
guess we'll go ahead and read that.
Yeah. Are y'all
All
ready
right.
to move on?
Yep.
Hey.
Chapter 12.
Christina, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Can you just every few verses just say where you are? Because mine's very different. I
Yes.
get lost very easily. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay.
While the lion was saying these words to the eagle, I looked and saw that the remaining head had disappeared. The two wings that had gone over to it rose up and set themselves up to rain, and their rain was brief and full of tumult. When I looked again, they were already vanishing. The whole body of the eagle was burned, and the earth was exceedingly terrified. Then I woke up in great perplexity of mind and great fear, and I said to my spirit, you have brought this upon me because you search out the ways of the Most High. I am still weary in mind and very weak in my spirit, and not even a little strength is left in me because of the great fear with which I have been terrified tonight. Therefore, I will now entreat the Most High that he may strengthen me to the end. 7. Then I said, O sovereign Yahuwah, I don't know if that, I think it is Yahuwah. If I have found favor in your sight, and if I have been accounted righteous before you beyond many others, and if my prayer has indeed come up before your face, strengthen me and show me your servant the interpretation and the meaning of this terrifying vision, that you may fully comfort my soul. For you have judged me worthy to be shown the end of the times and the last events of the times. He said to me, this is the interpretation of this vision that you have seen. The eagle that you saw coming up from the sea is the fourth kingdom that has appeared in a vision to your brother Daniel. But it was not explained to him as I now explain to you, or have explained it. The days are coming when a kingdom shall rise on earth, and it shall be more terrifying than all the kingdoms that have been before it. And 12 kings shall reign in it, one after another. But the second that is to reign shall hold sway for a longer time than any other one of the 12. This is the interpretation of the 12 wings that you saw. 17. As for your hearing a voice that spoke, coming not from the eagle's heads, but from the midst of its body, this is the interpretation. In the midst of the time of the kingdom, great struggles shall arise, and it shall be in danger of falling. Nevertheless, it shall not fall then, but shall regain its former power. As for your seeing 8 little wings clinging to its wings, this is the interpretation. 8 kings shall arise in it, whose times shall be short and their years swift. 2 of them shall perish when the middle of its time draws near, and 4 shall be kept for the time when its end approaches, but 2 shall be kept until the end. 22. As for your seeing 3 heads at rest, this is the interpretation. In its last days, the Most High will raise up 3 kings, and they shall renew many things in it, and shall rule the world and its inhabitants more oppressively than all who were before them. Therefore they are called the heads of the eagle, because it is they who shall sum up his wickedness and perform his last actions. As for your seeing that the large head disappeared, one of the kings shall die in his bed, but in agonies. Which makes me think of Daniel chapter 11, verse 20, 21. But as for the 2 who remained, the sword shall devour them. For the sword of one shall devour him who was with him, but he also shall fall by the sword in the last days. As for your seeing 2 little wings passing over to the head which was on the right side, this is the interpretation. It is these whom the Most High has kept for the eagle's end. This was the reign which was brief and full of tumult, as you have seen. 31. And as for the lion whom you saw rousing up out of the forest and roaring and speaking to the eagle and reproving him for his unrighteousness, and as for all his words that you have heard, this is the Messiah whom the Most High has kept until the end of days, who will arise from the offspring of David and will come and speak with them. He will denounce them for their ungodliness and for their wickedness, and will display before them their contemptuous dealings. For first he will bring them alive before his judgment seat, and when he has reproved them, then he will destroy them. But in mercy he will set free the remnant of my people, those who have been saved throughout my borders, and he will make them joyful until the end comes, the day of judgment, of which I spoke to you at the beginning. This is the dream that you saw, and this is its interpretation. And you alone were worthy to learn this secret of the Most High. Therefore, write all these things that you have seen in a book, put it in a hidden place, and you shall teach them to the wise among your people, whose hearts you know are able to comprehend and keep these secrets. But as for you, wait here 7 more days, so that you may be shown whatever it pleases the Most High to show you. Then he left me. And I'll just go ahead and finish these last few verses. Verse 40. When all the people heard that the 7 days were past and I had not returned to the city, they all gathered together from the least to the greatest and came to me and spoke to me, saying, how have we offended you, and what have we done, and what harm have we done you, that you have forsaken us and sit in this place? For all the prophets you alone are left to us, like a cluster of grapes from the vintage, and like a lamp in a dark place, and like a haven for a ship safe from a storm. Are not the disasters that have befallen us enough? Therefore, if you forsake us, how much better it would have been for us if we also had been consumed in the burning of Zion. For we are no longer than those who died there. or sorry, we are no better than those who died there. And they wept with a loud voice. Then I answered them and said, Take courage, O Israel, and do not be sorrowful, O house of Yaakov, for the Most High has you in remembrance, and the Mighty One has not forgotten you in your struggle. As for me, I have neither forsaken you nor withdrawn from you, but I have come to this place to pray on account of the desolation of Zion, and to seek mercy on account of the humiliation of our sanctuary. Now go to your homes, every one of you, and after these days I will come to you. So the people went into the city as I told them to do. But I sat in the field 7 days as the angel had commanded me, and I ate only of the flowers of the field, and my food was of plants during those days. It just occurred to me while I was reading verse 48, or actually 47. For the Most High has you in remembrance, and the Mighty One has not forgotten you in your struggle. As for me, I have neither forsaken you nor withdrawn from you, but I have come to this place to pray on account of the desolation of Zion, and to seek mercy on account of the humiliation of our sanctuary. For some reason, this brought to mind our bodies, which in this time frame, I believe, is the sanctuary. We are told in the New Testament that our bodies are the temple of Yahusha, and we are to take care of them as best as we can. But some, have made mistakes, right? And those mistakes is through the deceptions of the enemy. And Yah has not forgotten about that. He hasn't forsaken anybody who has made true repentance before him. And that I do believe Father does hold that in regard. And so he's just basically letting those people know that he has prayed for them, because he does understand their struggles that they're going through in this world right now. And they're horrible. So that's just what I wanted to share, because that's what I see. And that is something that I have thought about over the time of what's happened within the world, and how much this world despises our Heavenly Father and will do anything to destroy those people who are seeking Him and His worship.
I mean, there's a lot of things, but the reference back to where Ezra is a priest and he's back in this field praying for Yahweh for answers and insight and wisdom. And when he was confused about the vision he's given, he is like upset with Uriel for forsaking him. And then we see that um, being forsaken from the people that come out to their priest who they rely on for as being a light to them. And in verse 41, it says, What evil have we done against you that you have utterly forsaken us? And then he assures them that in verse 47, the Most High has you in remembrance, and the Mighty has not forgotten you. As for me, I have not forsaken you, neither have I departed from you, but have come to this place to pray for the desolation of Zion, that I might seek the mercy for the low estate of your sanctuary.
Yeah.
So I guess just like prepare our hearts that we could feel very desperate and feel forsaken, but just, you know, we have
Don't
one
ever
who,
give up.
yeah, yeah, just
Right.
keep
First
turning to
man to
him,
the end.
keep turning
Yeah.
to him, and don't give up hope in him.
And then back in verse 29, so the heads are, it talks about, and whereas you saw two wings under passing over to the head that is on the right side. And then it goes on to say, these are they whom the Most High has kept to his end. This is the small kingdom full of trouble, as you saw. And then you keep reading, and then the Most High, it goes on, because he speaks to them. That's in verse 32, and reproves them for their wickedness and unrighteousness. To me, that's none other than the beast and the false prophet,
And I
which
think
is
it's,
which is
I,
interesting that it's two little wings. It's like in the scheme of things, they're really nothing.
yeah. And I think it's really interesting that it starts in verse 29.
Yeah, yeah. And then he repeats, these are they who Most High kept to the end, basically. That's the end of their small trouble kingdom, which three and a
Yeah.
half years is a pretty short rule, right?
Okay. And also notice going back up to verse 26, as for your seeing that the large head disappeared, one of the kings shall die in his bed, but in agonies. That's verse 26, year 26, right?
Yeah, makes you wonder.
Well,
It makes
but
you
The
wonder,
big
yes.
fat head, right? Who
three,
knows?
three though is happens in 25, right? Or March, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. 26 on the
The
world's count.
Gregorian,
Yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
But yeah, you're right, Linda. 25 on Yah's, but it's funny because in scripture he does kind of bounce around like, saying he knows and uses both calendars to reinforce his timing. But yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And that's in Daniel 11:21.
yeah.
Yep.
And 29, of course, is the Gregorian date as well, year
Actually, yeah,
2029.
actually, I would say that this would go with Daniel 11:20. For he is destroyed, but not in wrath or in battle.
Yeah.
And somewhere in the Bible it says uh, to pray without ceasing. So we need to be praying no matter where we're at, what we're doing, all day long, where we're shopping or we're working or whatever we're doing. It needs to come to our mind uh, all the time, and keep praying constantly.
I would agree with that, Ray.
Yeah, Ray.
100%.
And back in chapter 9, we read, or that's where we started at verse 25. Well, I guess I'll start at 24. Go into the field of flowers where no house is built, and eat only the flowers of the field, and you will taste no flesh, drink no wine, but eat flowers only, and pray to the Most High continually. Then I will come and talk to you. I'd love to put that reference that you just mentioned in my notes here. So does anybody know where that's at? Do you know where that's at?
It's in there. We'll find it.
No, I don't.
I think it's pray always. Let me look that up. Is how it's put. Yeah, First Thessalonians 5:17.
Thank
Pray
you.
without ceasing.
5:17, you said?
Yep.
Thank you.
And then I like Luke 21:36 to watch therefore and pray always that you may be counted worthy to escape all these things that will come to pass
Yeah.
and stand before the Son of Man.
Could you give that
Yeah.
address again, Mitzi?
Luke 21:36.
Okay, and then the other one was First Thessalonians 5.
5:17. Pray without ceasing.
And that goes in second Esdras 9:25.
There's that 17 again.
Yeah. Yep.
Did anybody see anything else in chapter 12?
Didn't it say something about the longest reigning king? Do we know who that is?
Uh, and again, I think God culture, he actually did the math through all that. Um, I'm not quite sure. The whole thing and the whole thing he started out, and I think this says that so where the statue of Daniel ended, so he went from Nebuchadnezzar to the silver, the Medes and the Persians, and then the Greek, and then the Rome. So this bird started with Rome, which was interesting because the Roman standard was an eagle as well, right? And then it went on from there. So this bird, I think maybe the British
Oh, thank you,
Empire.
Linda.
Oh
Oh, you're
yeah, so
welcome. Sorry, I don't know
yeah.
why it won't focus, but it's page 129 if you have the God Cultures book here.
Will you take a picture of that and
Yes,
post
good
it?
idea.
Thank you. But I definitely don't have pictures in my book. Have to imagine it.
Yeah, I don't know about the quality of this, but I'll do my best. Where should I share this?
Uh, do it in band and maybe in Discord.
Okay.
What page was that again?
129. It doesn't have a page number on it, but it's at the end of chapter 11, but right before chapter 12 begins, 130.
Yeah, so he has the largest head. The center head is Britain, the right head is the Vatican, and the left head is the United States. Not necessarily saying he's absolutely right. That's just what he's saying. And then the whole body is the final empire. It's like the Holy Roman Empire that keeps morphing and changing from Britain to the US to the Vatican, right? Which Germany's in there, right? With all that stuff. And what's interesting is they have something in common as well. They're all Japheth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
I started going down in chapter 12, verse 6. Therefore, I will now implore the Most High that he will strengthen me to the end. So I have First Peter 1:13. Wherefore, gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach.
First Peter, which?
1:13.
Thank you.
I kind of disagree with him. I think the head on the right that destroys the United States would be modern day Israel.
Yeah, we actually have discussed this before. It's been a while since we've gone over this, but I remember having that sort of conversation too, that we had a different interpretation of, but this is kind of a gets you thinking
Yeah.
about who
Yeah.
the Roman Empire, what it's still in existence to this day.
Right. And that's what the statue tells us, right? The thighs of bronze. And then, it goes down to the feet, partly of iron, partly of clay. So it still remains to the coming of Yahusha, just a different changing version of the same Roman Empire, which would make sense. But the reason I say the Vatican, I don't think it's the Vatican because I think the modern day Israelis, which are not Yahusha's people, right? They are, so in my mind, they created the Vatican and all that. So it would make sense that they're that last head because who is currently ruling the United States right now? It's pretty obvious.
Yeah. And they would want to destroy the Vatican themselves just simply because it's not in fitting with their, I
There,
guess,
yeah, the usefulness of the Vatican will soon be over.
right.